Today I wanted to take time to talk about why getting over a narcissistic abuse relationship is so difficult. Oftentimes the person who's being abused doesn't even recognize why it's so difficult, and the outside world is confirming that they should be over this by now. And I'm here to tell you that there are 10 things that we need to get over that I can think of in regards to the abuse. If there's something else that I have forgotten, please make a mention of it down below. So the first one is recognizing that this is not a healthy relationship. So anyone who is comparing their experience with a healthy relationship with this one is going to be sorely mistaken and misunderstand what you're going through. The first one is that we have to get over the reality of what our life really was versus what it looked like at the time. It looked like one thing and it was really something else. So we're not just losing the relationship as we knew it as. It's the relationship we knew it as and the one that we didn't know we had. So trying to wrap our head around two totally different scenarios. It's like we were in a play and we were casted into it, and we didn't recognize that everyone around us was part of that play. And so getting over that is very challenging. The next thing, number 2, is a sense of trust. Now, in a healthier relationship, trust can be broken, but the trust that you lost was the trust in that person. Perhaps a little bit of lack of trust in yourself. But when your whole life was a facade and not at all as it was perceived to be because you were conned by the narcissist, it is a loss, total loss, not just of trust of yourself and in the relationship of the person you're with. It's also a lack of trust that you have to gain back again for the entire universe, the world, because it wasn't just them at play. They're playing off of everybody. So everyone has their hand in it. Some are more aware of some of the lies and the deception, and others are not. But they're part of the illusion that the narcissist has created, which we have to wrap our head around. We're not just dealing with one relationship. There's several relationships all going on simultaneously that are a part of this whole trickery and this con game that is going on. Some people are being fooled just as much as you are, but still they don't get it. They don't see it, and so they're not going to be supportive, helpful, and they're going to be on the narcissist side, and that's how the narcissist set it up to be. So you would be alone. Okay, so the next one is number 3, sense of self. We have lost our sense of self because we have been manipulated and gaslighted, and we have been a projection of who they are has been put onto us on a regular basis. So we've taken on the responsibility, everything's our fault, that we have come to terms with what their perception was about who we are, which isn't who we are. It's who they wanted us to be, how they wanted us to be perceived. That is something that we wore as if that's who I am, when in actuality, it's not. So getting over this relationship that's unhealthy is finding ourselves again. We got lost in this whole abuse and this emotional and psychological thing that was going on in the relationship on a regular basis. So you have to rethink everything that you once thought to be true. Your whole belief system is out of whack because you believed one thing and it's totally something else. And trying to understand how it happened, why it happened, and how you didn't see it are all things that the average person who's had healthier relationships will not understand or get. But once you start understanding narcissism and what the traits are, you start realizing and unraveling. Okay, so number 4 is your reputation. Remember I mentioned about other people playing along with this whole game that the narcissist is playing. They will want allies and people, they often call flying monkeys, that are out there, and they are siding with the narcissist, and they're saying certain things because you don't know the totality of what's been told about you to others, and others do not know the truth of the reality of what's really going on in the relationship. So they're getting a one-sided view of you based on what the narcissist is telling them. So they may have sympathy for the narcissist, and so they feel the need to protect, and they feel the need to make comments and to act in certain ways to make things happen for the narcissist because they're taking over where you used to be helpful to them and you were doing everything for them, or whatever the role was with the narcissist. So you now are not just dealing with one dysfunctional relationship and breakup. It is a whole host of people that they have been manipulating depending on how long you've been together, letting others think certain things about you enough that it taints their view of who you are. So your reputation becomes what they wanted you to be seen as, not reality. Number 5, losing friends and family. In a healthy relationship, or even in a divorce situation, there are people who take sides and things, can go ugly. But with someone who's a narcissist, it goes to the extreme because they don't want to leave you with anyone to be on your side. They want you to be isolated. They want you to feel alone, and they want you to feel wrong, and they want you to feel like you are the one to blame for everything because they can't take responsibility. So that's a huge burden to be put onto somebody. And that is part of what they do. Okay, so the next one is number 6, which is the time you've spent. In a healthy relationship, you can look back and have times that you can look back on, they were happy times. Even if it was in an alcoholic relationship that was very dysfunctional, there were times that you could look back on. Even if they were violent, there were things that you could hold on to possibly. But if they also were narcissists, every part of it was a lie. It's not like someone who was an alcoholic and at their core, they were not able to love because the alcohol and stuff got in the way. With a narcissist, no matter what, it was not there. It's never been there. It was just an act. They don't have the ability to connect. They don't have the emotional feelings for other people. They have a lot of negative ones, and those are internal. And it's about making them happy by hurting other people. So it's very sadistic. So you've lost the future of what you thought you had. You also lost the past, because when you look back, there are triggers and memories that come up, and things that didn't seem right. In hindsight, is 2020, right? You start recognizing, oh, that makes sense. Now I understand what the pattern was. I understand what was going on. So it's not like you can look back and go, well, at least we had these times together. You won't get that. So we have to get over that loss of understanding that we put in 10, 20, 30 years, whatever it might be that we put in, feels like a total waste of time and energy because there was never anything there. Nothing substantial. It was all superficial and an illusion and a con. And that's really difficult to accept versus a healthier relationship in the spectrum of narcissists being like the most unhealthy. Others, there's like a thread, something you can hold on to. With this, you don't have any of it. So the average person is not going to understand that. Number 7, you're going to have a loss of energy. By the time you are done with the relationship, whether they broke up with you or you broke up with them, you are totally drained. That's part of the manipulation. They drain you completely because you have less fight in you when that's happening. So when they're gaslighting you and making no sense with word salad and whatever, it's about mentally, emotionally, and psychologically abusing you to the point that you are utterly exhausted. And it may have already affected your hormone levels from being in fight or flight on the regular basis with the traumatic situation you've been in with the trauma. So you may be having adrenal failure, you might be having, or fatigue, you might be having thyroid issues, all these physical symptoms that are now occurring because the body could not sustain that level of hypervigilance, of that level of torture the body is not meant to be in on a regular basis. So you will get that back after you've left. After you will get more of that back, but it takes some time because there's some healing that needs to occur. The next one, number 8, is memory. So you've lost memories that you thought you had because now you realize those memories weren't what you thought they were, but you also have like a virus in your brain, like a computer. The narcissist has come in and taught you things about yourself and told you things that weren't true that you started to buy into. And you started to buy into that because you were told it so often. And they tried to prove it to you by flying monkeys and things other people said. So then you're thinking, well, if he thinks it and she thinks it, well, it must be true. So your brain can only take so much. So multitasking and doing several things, you may start feeling like you're losing your memory or losing your mind. It's because it's on overload. You now have so much information of dealing with so many things that multitasking other things beyond what you're dealing with the abuse may be overwhelming. So to be compassionate with yourself and understand that this is normal. All the things I'm telling you, it's about letting you know that all of us who've been through it and came the other side have gone through these steps of accepting and understanding and going through the emotions so we could get to the other side, that there's hope. And so the 9th one is, in a healthy relationship, you'll get closure. You will never get closure with a narcissist. They won't give it to you. They need to keep you in that cycle. So in a healthier relationship, you might get on the same page and you might get a level of closure that lets you feel like you're in a better place because at least you both kind of see that things weren't working out, or one, recognizes it wasn't working for them and you're like, you want them to be happy. So there's something to land on, some level, but they're not going to give you that. They're going to keep messing with you. Number 10 is that once you've decided it's over with a healthy relationship, it's over. You're not going to get hoovering and niceness in order to suck you back in, to keep you in that cycle. So that's the other thing that you don't have to deal with the usual breakup of a relationship. So what I say is that healing is about healing every part of our life. It's an opportunity to build it back up again, but this time, the type of life you deserve, this time for real. I know it's difficult. It is really hard, but I want you to walk away after this video understanding that everything you're going through is normal and it's going to take time. Take each step one at a time. Get through the day. You can do it. If I could do it and my clients have done it, you can do it too. I want you to believe in yourself the way you were meant to, not the way the narcissist wanted you to think about you.